Hi everyone, my name's Allison and I am your Vinted Value Mama. Today I want to talk about selling your clothes on Vinted and some common problems that sellers run into. Now, unfortunately, this video isn't really about avoiding common problems. Some of these things are just a bit unavoidable, but I thought it might be helpful for you to hear some of the problems you can encounter on Vinted, and then you can decide for yourself if it's really worth your time to try and sell your clothes or not. The first problem I want to talk about is when buyers cancel their order. It's really disappointing when you think you're going to make a sale and then you don't, and you've spent some time making a really wonderful listing, and now you have to go and list that item all over again. Not much you can do to prevent this. The buyer does automatically get negative feedback to try and discourage them from doing this all the time, so hopefully you don't experience this too often. The second problem you might encounter when trying to sell on Vinted is buyers who ask a million questions and then they don't buy the item. Also, really disappointing, especially if you've gone through the effort to try and make a really good listing with all the information in the description. You might be wondering to yourself if the buyer has some trouble reading. Try and keep in mind that Vinted usually sells to a few different countries, so the buyer might not speak the same language that you do. This whole conversation might be going through Google Translate. Just try and be patient, but I understand why you might not want to dig out that brown sweater you listed 7 months ago from your closet and measure it and send the buyer the measurements, and then maybe they buy it for like €4. Probably they won't. If you don't want to answer buyers' questions, you don't have to. Just tell them, I'm too busy. I'm not going to take measurements for you. Sorry. The next super annoying thing is when buyers ask you to reserve something for them. Basically, this is a feature on Vinted where you can set the item aside just for this specific buyer. So if they say, "Oh, I don't get paid until next Friday. Can you reserve it for me until then?" And the answer is no. I understand why the buyer might want you to reserve it. They might be worried that someone else is going to buy it before next Friday. But you know who's not worried about it being bought before next Friday? You. You actually would really like it if someone different bought it before next Friday. So there's really no reason in the world for you to reserve the item for this specific buyer. Also, it does happen quite frequently that you reserve an item for someone and then they still end up not buying it. Just leave the item as it is, and it's first come, first serve on Vinted. The next thing that buyers do that you might find just a bit frustrating is asking for a discount. Now, this is another feature of Vinted. You can ask for a discount, usually up to 40% off, and people will. It doesn't matter if you've just listed something and you have a million likes on it, people are still going to try and get it for less. There is not a lot you can do about this, unfortunately. You can write no offers or the price is firm in the description, but some people aren't going to read that. Some people are going to read that and just ignore it anyway. It's a fact of life when you offer things up on Vinted, and you need to be aware of that if you're going to be selling your clothes online. Something that seems to be happening more and more these days is shipping your package to a box, and then the buyer simply doesn't go to the box and pick up their package. And the order is canceled, it gets shipped back to you, you don't get any money, and the buyer doesn't get any negative feedback. So, a big waste of your time and a big disappointment when you thought you had made a sale already and shipped it off and were totally done. Not a lot you can do about this one either. It happens every now and again. I'm sorry. What is even worse than someone not picking up their package is someone who has picked up their package, but then they say, "This isn't what I ordered, this is all dirty, what have you sent me?" and try and get a refund that way. A lot of people will recommend that you make a video of yourself while you're packaging the item up so everyone can see that it's perfectly fine and it's in the package. But honestly, even a video like that, it's not really evidence, and there's still a good chance that Vinted is going to side with the buyer and not you. What can you do about that? Not much, honestly. I know that when you sell an item of high value, it's really exciting and you're already sort of mentally, okay, I can spend this much money on this and then I'll have money for that and then I can buy this. But I really don't recommend selling anything of high value on Vinted. There's just not enough protection for it. Sometimes the app itself isn't super helpful for sellers. It has a description and it recommends that you write something similar, but the description is terrible. The description is just like true to size, worn a couple times. Write a real description with the measurements, the material, how it looks, how it feels. Don't use the Vinted description. And Vinted will also automatically try to sort of detect which category your item should go in. So maybe I take a picture of this sweater and it says, would you like to put that in sweaters with a round neck? And I'll say, yeah, sure, why not? It's a sweater with a round neck. It's a good system. But it'll be putting my sweater in the men's section instead of in the women's section, because they both have sweaters with round necks. So just be aware of that whenever you're listing your items. And last but not least, a problem that you might have when you're selling your clothes on Vinted is buyers leaving you unfair reviews. They might leave you a 4-star review and say, everything was perfect, thank you so much. And it's like, why would you leave a 4-star review if everything is perfect, thank you so much? They might leave you a 1-star review for no reason. You can respond to the review. So anyone who's checking out your reviews will see, okay, this person left a 4-star review and the seller responded and said, is there anything I could have done differently to make this a 5-star review? Something like that. the end, though, I don't know that reviews are all that important. I know a lot of people feel really strongly and really proud of how they have 73 5-star reviews. But honestly, no buyer is going to care if you have 73 5-star reviews and 1 2-star review. They're still going to buy from you, and you can still have a really great experience on Vinted. If you are new to shopping on Vinted and you're concerned someone might be trying to scam you, scams are particularly dangerous for new sellers, I have to say. Check out this video up here. I'll see you next time. Bye.